Yeah, make me the first long snapper ever to be
Ever
traded
traded.
for a draft pick. Let's do this.
This is No Excuses with Jon Taffer.
Jon, I got to tell you, buddy, I've been really looking forward to talking to you because so many people blame failure on excuses. And, I wrote a book called Don't Bullshit Yourself, Cut the Excuses That Are Holding You Back. When you were a kid, boy, you had a lot of excuses and opportunities to blame on not being an achiever. You had a tough start.
Yeah, I basically at a young age made the decision that I don't ever want to be that kid. And, you talk about goals, right? And I had a very simple goal when I was a kid. I never wanted to be babysat. And, that drives me nuts. And even in going into the NFL, you have bed check at 11 o'clock, you have all this stuff. Being babysat used to drive me nuts. I was the guy that's like, hey, tell me what you want, leave me alone, don't micromanage. I promise you it'll get done. And I took pride in that.
Yeah, so there's a rebellious side to you then, in essence.
Well, I guess a rebellious side to want to do well. I guess if you can put it that way. Yeah, just leave me alone and give me a task, and I promise you, I'm gonna get it done.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm sure you've seen my TV show. In my TV show, producers want to produce. They want to tell me what to do, how to do it, and I always say, I have to do things my way. Tell me what you want me to do, but don't put the words in my mouth. Don't tell me how to do it. I relate to what you're saying, and as a player, you executed that way too. So
yeah, Andy, I loved Andy Reid, right? And I'll never forget that when I first signed there. He came out. I just got done with my workout. He came out and he said, congratulations, you're an Eagle. I go, really? It's really cool. He goes, yeah, here's the deal. You want to run. You want to work out. You want to lift. Do whatever you want. You want to go home. But if it's not there on Sunday, you're fired. And I looked at him and I said, Coach, you and I are going to get along. I'm going to cruise by my house. I'll be back.
And I'm guessing you spent an awful lot of time, Nick, because the career speaks for itself. When did you know that you were going to pursue a professional sports career?
You know what? This is going to sound crazy, but I don't think I ever knew. And so making the decision to play football versus baseball. I went to high school. I was a good baseball player, got the accolades. I led the league in tackles my senior year. Didn't get all league. I was devastated. And I didn't get a scholarship. So I thought I was pretty good. I was looking around, seeing the people that were going places, and I was like, man, I can hang with these guys. So I went to a junior college. It was Golden West Junior College. And this is how easy this thought process was. At the time, they were 0-20. They hadn't won a game in 2 years. There was these other schools that were really good and big programs, and they had 150 guys, and they were winning. But, Bill Simpson was an ex-NFL guy. He actually played for the Buffalo Bills, these guys right here. And he said, hey, you stay on the field, they're going to find you. If you ain't on the field, they ain't going to find you.
So you went when you knew you'd get play time. You went
right to a school I knew I was – look, if you can't play at a school that's 0-20, hang it up and find a different life, right? Yeah. And so that's what I did. A lot of people know the story, but I actually took 3 of us and made an ultra highlight tape. I sent it to the University of Texas, El Paso, where an ex-teammate and good friend of mine was there. They needed a long snapper, so I sent our snappers film, said it was me at the time. And I went. And so, throughout college, I literally just wanted to run out of a tunnel in front of 100,000 people. That was my motive to play college football. I love the game. I love the energy. I love the speed. I love the alpha male competing, the gladiators, intensity. Right? But ultimately, I wanted to run out of a tunnel and feel 100,000 people scream. I want to be a rock star, but I can't sing and I can't dance. I can't play an instrument. So that was the closest thing.
Wow. So there is, I talk about it, television is not dissimilar than that. There's an instant gratification when all these people watch you at once. There's something that comes from that. In regular jobs, they do plans and budgets, and it takes months for things to materialize. You go play today, you get the accolades today. I mean, it's in real time. That's exciting.
You know what it is? It's the energy, right? It's the lights, it's the music. It's to me, I'm an energy guy, and being around that just makes you want to just do great things. So I ended up playing. I was a long snapper in college, and I ended up doing pretty well. And my senior year, they started saying, hey, you could probably play in the league. And so sure enough, I got a shot with the Buffalo Bills. I stuck there for 2 years. Yeah. But the reality is, you asked, when did I know I'd have a career there? Every year that I played, I thought I was getting fired. And so in the offseason, I would go perform. And, I look back on my career, and I'm very thankful for this. I had magic on one end and I had football, but that gave me a balance. And when I'm away from football, I was away. So in the offseason, I didn't think about it. I got away. Yeah. And every year it was like a fresh start for me. I'm real thankful for that balance. But I also think I lasted as long as I did because I never thought I got there. They say getting there is the easy part, and it's hard. Staying is hard. Yeah. And okay, hold on. Sorry. So I never wanted to be babysat, and then the people laugh at this too, but this is so true. Jon, what was your goal in the NFL? Was it to win the Super Bowl? Was it to be an All-Pro? Was it this? It was all of that. But I had one goal, and the goal was I always wanted to be the oldest guy on the team, because I looked around and I saw that if you were the oldest guy on the team, it meant a lot of different things. You handled your business, you showed up on time, you were a true pro, and if you were the oldest guy on the team, then you put yourself in a position to have, a lot of chances of success, and you put yourself in a position to have the most opportunities to win a Super Bowl, and that's what I wanted.
So how does it feel when you go from the Bills when you get traded? I've never asked a player about that before.
Well, so I was, I was released from Buffalo, went to Tennessee, and then I played for the Eagles for 12 years. And then the Eagles traded me to the New Orleans Saints. And, it was one of those things where at the time I had just got the record for the most consecutive games played as an Eagle. So I played 162 straight games, hurt, sick, injured, didn't matter. And that didn't include preseason and playoff games. So it was probably more. But it's that moment where you go, wait a minute, you're going to try, like in my mind, I was Mr. Eagle, right? But here's what's really cool. I'm somebody I'm going to try and take the best out of every situation and step back, and things happen for a reason, and life's got a plan, right? So I looked at the GM, Howie Roseman. I said, hold on. Let me get this straight. I'm a long snapper. And you're telling me that a team inquired to trade for me? And he kind of looked at me, and I go, so am I the first long snapper ever to be traded for a draft pick? I go, Howie, if this is going to happen, it ain't my decision. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what I feel. I just got to go along with this. So if it's time for me to go our separate ways, then make me the first long snapper ever to be traded for a draft pick. Let's do this.
Boy, you and I are so alike. I love benchmarks in my life, things to accomplish and to be the first at something. Now, you are, a lot of my listeners don't know this about you, Jon, but you're an amazing magician, and I watch some of your videos, buddy. You're a killer public speaker. You're a great motivational speaker. Were you a little kid when you fell in love with magic? Were you really young?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry.
Oh, if those of you aren't watching, I don't know how the hell he did this, but he just coughed and a deck of cards came out of his mouth. And there was no setup prior to doing that, so that was a good move. Were you a young kid?
Yeah, so I was 12 years old when I first saw a magician named Michael Groves, 13 years old. And I saw a magician, he was 16 years old, named Michael Groves, and he did a trick to me. And I loved every bit of it. They took me down to a magic shop. I got my first book, J.B. Bobo Coin Magic. And then it was off in the races. And then, back then in the early 90s, that's when like the magic TV specials were big, right? The internet wasn't around, so it wasn't saturated. So when there was a magic special on TV, it was a big deal. Yeah. There was a show called The World's Greatest Magic, and Bill Malone was a card guy. And I saw Bill Malone perform, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I picked up a deck of cards. And what's really cool is when I would travel around with these bad boys, I was never alone. And so I could take these guys anywhere. I could shuffle. I could have fun. And I just felt that when I shuffled, I would think about life, things would process, and I was just a kid. And to this day, I always got them, baby.
You also could always bring a smile to somebody's face who's next to you with that.
Yeah,
a
cool.
ticket to a smile every time. So what I find remarkable about you is your tough childhood. You get your stuff together. You do really well in school. You do well. You have a good NFL career, and then you get sick. And you had to give up your NFL career. Could you talk about how you dealt with coming out the other side of that?
Yeah, it was hard. So I think a lot of it had to do with the moments that lead up to it. And I'll tell you this.
Because you were invincible in your mind at that time, weren't you?
Say it again?
You were invincible at that time in your mind.
Oh, are you kidding me? I'm 37 years old, just signed a 3-year extension. I'm going to play in the NFL until I'm 40. Come on, man.
Top of the world.
And I thought I was healthy as can be. But, every year I played in the NFL, I thought I was getting cut. And so in the offseason, I would go around and I would perform. And I spent my entire career leveraging opportunity, building relationships and friendships and doing these events, meeting people, so that when the day was over that I was cut, I would have options to where my mind would go and where my life would go. It wasn't about money. It was about options. And it was about where am I going to spend the next 40, 50 years of my life here. And so, when I found out I got traded to the Saints, whether you're religious or spiritual or not, it's amazing to think that I was traded to New Orleans to be saved by a Saint. And so I took a physical. They discovered I had an aneurysm. So your aorta is the vein that leaves the heart, right? And it comes down and around like this. And the aorta should be about the size of a dime or a nickel. And mine was the size of a Coke can. Oh. So it was 6 centimeters, just shy. And so if that aneurysm pops like a water balloon, your lights out right away. You're dead instantly. So they discovered I had the aneurysm. I had a valve replacement as well. So my blood was leaking back into my heart where it shouldn't be. And the emergency part of the surgery was the aneurysm. So long story short,
so you went right into surgery. As soon as they told you, man, you were right into surgery.
Yeah, man. So as soon as I found out, well, we had 24 hours, right? So we called surgeons all over the world. My wife and I, we interviewed them. And it just so happens the number one guy was Joseph Bavaria at UPenn. So it was back in Philadelphia. So right. I headed right back to Philly. They admitted me, observed me for a night, and then I was in surgery the next morning.
Wow. How long was your recovery?
Oh, brutal, man. It was, the surgery was about just shy of 11 hours. My wife and I were in the hospital post-surgery 3.5 weeks, I believe, just shy of 4 weeks. I'm telling you what, man, you're on a lot of meds. So I was on, it was either 21 or 26 pills for quite a while. And it's, they say that like depression is a side effect of open heart surgery. And I don't know if that's the word, right? I think that's the word they use for lack of better word. But you have these moments of loneliness. You have these moments of purpose. You have these moments of you feel just really like bad for yourself. And what's the struggle is you finally get to a point that you realize it's not you, right? You finally get to a point that a situation happens and you don't react like you would have pre-surgery. And it's the meds and it's just the hormones. It's everything. And then all of a sudden, when you come to that realization, you're like, okay, now I can start working on this to get myself back, but you can't snap out of it. And you get I got really frustrated. My wife will vouch, man, I had no patience. My patience is still, it's gotten a lot better, but it's slowly coming back. Physically, I sat in a recliner for months and just stared at a wall. You're on a drug called Metropolol and you basically just stare at a wall. I mean, that's what I did. And so you got to get your mind back too.
How you feeling now? Hey,
man, rocking and rolling, baby.
That's awesome.
I would say 1,000,000 times better, man. I had my 1-year follow-up in October. Where my problem is a lot of the blood was leaking back into my heart. And so my heart was working way too hard and it got way too big. And like a pair of sweatpants, when the heart gets big, it loses its elasticity. And the elasticity of the heart is kind of the ability the strength of the squeeze. And so when my heart got real big, we had the surgery, my heart shrunk back down, but we needed the strength to come back, that elasticity to squeeze the blood out. And so I found out last October that the strength is it's making progress, no heart transplant, nothing like that. So we're hey man, we're living, baby.
What's fascinating to me about you is that in your life, you are an expert at team sports. You're a team guy. You know how to come through for a team. I'm guessing you feel bad when you had a bad game for the team, but you are totally about team victory, sharing that victory with everyone else. You didn't want to run through the tube on your own. You wanted to run through the tube with a championship team. But when you look at Magic, that's the exact opposite of that in every way. Magic is so solo when you're learning it. It's such an individual thing. And I'm friends with Lance Burton, who I'm sure you know the name, is a good comedian. And, of course, Lance performs in front of a mirror all the time, just constantly. It's interesting how you have such a solo skill and such a team orientation. That's fascinating to me.
Well, it kind of made me cringe at times when coaches would preach, there's no I in team. Excuse me, sir. Yeah, there are. There's a lot of I's in team. And if these I's don't get our stuff together individually and handle our jobs as individuals, this team ain't never going anywhere.
That's right.
So, no, there are I's in team. You just got to have to basically have a sense of want and pride for your teammates that you want to win for them more than you do yourself. And then you got to come together. And so, this was Magic was cool for me, man. It taught me a lot at a young age that doesn't matter how hard something is. If you stick to it, you're going to find yourself getting better and better. And then when you accomplish it, when you accomplish the move, man, wow, how good does that feel? And, one of the moves, like, for instance, here we have an ace of hearts. And if you're watching this, maybe you'll be able to see it. But you can flick it and get that thing to change into whatever cards you want. That's a hard move. But when you master it, all of a sudden you feel so cool about it. It's gratifying. And it builds this confidence. It builds character, which in football, practice is to build character, right? Yeah, you're working on your plays, but what you're doing is you're working on yourself and the strategy behind it to where when you go out, you have confidence. Practice is to build confidence. That's what it is.
So I, in preparing to talk to you last night, watched America's Got Talent. Watched, and man, you blew away the judges. I'm not sure anyone has ever gotten that reaction out of the judges before. I'd love it if you'd share that story with us. How you thought to do that, and if anybody hasn't seen that, you got to go to YouTube or wherever you can find it, and watch Jon on America's Got Talent. That was, I'm guessing, your Super Bowl of magic for you in a sense.
Yeah, and it was really cool because I was in training camp at the time we competed on the live shows, and so for me, to be playing in the NFL at the highest level, and then arguably to be performing on the highest level on the #1 TV show in the world on the biggest stage simultaneously, it was two childhood dreams coming together as one. So a buddy of mine called me and said, "Hey, you got to do this show." I'm like, "Yeah, all right." So long story short, I did it, and I was actually going to opt out after the first or second episode. I was hoping to get a few good comments from the judges, to put on the website and to use as promo to help my speaking career. Because I love the corporate speaking side. I love being a keynote speaker because I get to tell my story and perform at the same time. It's the best of both worlds.
Yep.
And lo and behold, I got the gold buzzer, which if you're familiar with the show, if they hit that thing, you basically will go right to the lives, and it's a cool honor. And then the Eagles stepped up and said, "Hey, look, this is a big part of your life. Let's make it work." I mean, it's not literally the GM and the owner and the coaches. They'll like, "Look, you're not a quarterback. Okay. It's not like you have to be here every second. You're a long snapper. So, and you've been doing it a long time, so it was a win-win. The team got great publicity for it. The league did, I did myself. We represented what we believe in, and that is, be kind to one another, which is why Ellen and I get along. And when you have an opportunity to show the world who you are and what you stand for, say the right thing. And every time I performed, I was basically aiming for that 12 or 13-year-old kid that I was. I was talking to that kid just like Bill Malone talked to me through World's Greatest Magic.
Yeah, you're a good guy, Jon. So when you won America's Got Talent, what happened to your magic career? I mean, did your website light up? Were people trying to book you everywhere?
Yeah, it was one of those things. So
because Terry Fader, Terry Fader, the ventriloquist?
Oh, yeah.
Terry's a dear friend of mine. He's been on this podcast, and he just blew up afterwards. Oh, yeah. I'm guessing the same happened for you?
Yeah, so I got third. So I went to the last 20 seconds of the show, and which was great. One, it opted me out of some contractual stuff, and I was kind of a free agent. And, to be honest with you, not to sound like arrogant or anything, but I got so much publicity for losing. It was like, holy cow, this is great. And so, we had offers, but I was still playing in the NFL. And so, what I was really excited about is it really blew up the corporate speaking side. If you guys get a chance and you go on YouTube, YouTube Jon Dorenbos, America's Got Talent finale. And I did a trick where I basically described how magic saved my life. And I was basically doing that trick for the buyers because I wanted them to see what my style was and who I'm about. And so, it blew up. Now, what's really cool is now I book theaters around the country and people show up. It's so sick. I like, man. And so, and also from an industry standpoint, you do America's Got Talent. It does a lot on the back end of your career. And what I mean by that is it shows that, one, you can deliver on the world's greatest stage. You can do it live on television. You can hit your mark. You can hit your time. And, there's a lot more things than just going out and performing, right? You have camera blocking, and there's a lot of things that have to go on here in order to make it happen on television. So it gave me an opportunity to show the industry and to show these people that, hey, under pressure, I can hit my time, I can hit my mark, and let's go.
It's interesting. I have my television show. We're in my 9th year. Got about 91 million viewers, and I'm executive producer of it. And I listen to you, and it's amazing how similar our lives are in our approach to everything. My show, no different than you. I never thought I'd make it to the next season. I always figured I was going to get canceled at the end of the year, made me work incredibly hard. And I always thought to myself, and I'm going to say what you said in my way, you can agree with me. Getting on TV was one thing, staying on TV is another. Getting in the NFL is one thing, staying in the NFL is another. And becoming a magician is one thing, making a living and truly becoming a respected magician is another.
America's Got Talent was huge in my career, but it introduced me to Ellen DeGeneres. And Ellen and her crew and her staff have been amazing. And like you just said, Ellen has given me relevancy over time. Yeah. And that has given me the ability to sell out theaters and to do things that I want to do. And as you know, with that comes a great deal of responsibility. So there's a movie that came out, A Star is Born, with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. And I'll tell you what, one of the best lines of any movie I've ever seen came from that movie right there. And Bradley Cooper looked at her and said, "Hey, they ain't going to be listening forever. So you better be careful on what you say and how you say it. And you better say what you think, because that's all that people care about, right?" But with that comes a great deal of responsibility. And I love that responsibility. And Ellen and I get along because we're just that. Let's believe in ourselves. Let's be kind to one another. And let's make this world a better place than when we left. And television and podcasts and like yourself, man, you guys got the platforms to be able to do that and make a big difference in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, buddy, I'm honored to know you. You know, I've looked at your NFL career, and you have so much to be proud of. You know, you have overcome adversity 3-4 times in your life and proven the depth of what a winner truly is. You find a spirit in you, and let me make you blush for a minute here, Jon. There's a spirit to you that just overcomes. It is, and it's powerful when you look at how it touches the different aspects of your life. And you're touching other people. You are. And I'm guessing that's one of your greatest gratifications, because I'm looking in your eyes and I can see that, you know, the fact that people want to see you and understand you are relevant to us is, I'm guessing, your biggest motivation.
It's really cool, man. Oh, by far. And, you know, you said that you overcome obstacles. Here's what I've learned. That's one thing that every one of us can relate to. And I think the big difference is that the people that struggle that I've witnessed and that I've worked with, some of them are embarrassed at whatever that struggle is. And I think a little bit of it is they feel alone, right? They feel like, oh my gosh, nobody's ever been through this. Well, the reality is that's actually what binds us all together. That's actually what every one of us have in common. And so we're not alone. And I believe in this, man. I believe in self-talk. When you're down and out, don't listen to yourself. Don't listen to that voice. Talk yourself through it. You know, stand up, hold your head proud. When I was in the hospital every day for 3.5 weeks, I took my IV and I had a little briefcase that had the tubes that went into my chest and all the fluid was leaking. And I'd shuffle my feet to the bathroom and I'd look in the mirror and I kid you not, I'd be crying in the hospital. And I picked my head up and I literally told myself this every morning. You pick your head up, you walk proud, and you got this. And that's how I approach every day. Pick your head up, be proud, you got this. Well, and so what we say to ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, I believe that that's the same way we're going to view the world, and that's the same way we're going to view and talk to other people. So the world, it starts right here with the story that we tell ourselves. It's believing in ourselves. It's, you know, a lot of people said, Jon, you know, how did you were really accurate for a long, long time. I kid you not. My entire career, when I was taking the field, I was an actor in a movie playing the biggest badass long snapper in the world. That's what I told myself. And every time we went out on the field, I was like, okay, here we go. We got the director right there. We got one take. All the union guys want to go home. We're tired. Just nail it on the first take. Let's go. Johnny one take. That's what they called me, Johnny one take.
It's funny. And they call me one take Taffer.
I love it. I love it. Right. But it's the narrative that we tell ourselves. And it gets rid of the pressure. And all of a sudden, the story that we tell ourselves is what becomes.
And
you know,
we
if you
reaffirm.
Wake up depressed and have excuses, that's who you are.
And we reaffirm to ourselves all the time, and that's very important. You know, I'm big on words that we use to ourselves too. Like, to me, the word dream shouldn't exist. It should be a goal. Dreams are unlikely. Goals are likely. So, you know, I'm one who says, don't chase your dreams, chase your goals. And,
I like that.
Yeah, but little things like that make a big difference. I got two questions for you, buddy.
Yeah, can I say one thing real quick?
Sure.
What's beautiful about what you just said, goals sometimes happen within dreams.
Sure.
You dream about goals. Well, then wake up. And I love what you just said. Then wake up and make those goals a reality.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's the truth. That's who you are. Fact is, you did make yourself proud and you did achieve it. I got two fun questions for you. First of all, I'm really curious to know this question. Where do you get your deepest joy, Jon?
Ooh, man. That's a deep question. You know what? I'm just so happy to be alive. I'm so happy to breathe new air. I'm so happy to, you know what? I'm very happy. And I don't know if this is answering the question, but you know, I had pretty intense therapy as a kid after everything happened with my family.
Yep.
And it kind of led the road that I'm on now and the thought process that I have. And I'm really proud to say that I wake up happy. And I'm really proud that when sometimes things don't go our way or sometimes something bad happens, I don't see it as an excuse. I don't see it as the victim card. And, you know, I'm a person that says, hey, live in vision, not in circumstance. And so I find joy in the fact that my soul is free, that my heart is open. You know, I remarried and my wife, Annalise, is unbelievable. I found my soulmate. So to wake up every day and to have that, that's joy, man. You know, I got a dog now named Saint, named after the New Orleans Saints for saving our life. I mean, I look at him, that's joy. But really, the deepest joy comes from the ability to have a clear mind, clear soul, and to understand the power of forgiveness and to let things go in the past that doesn't matter anymore. Life doesn't care, right? Life doesn't care. Yeah. It's how we deal with it. And it's the story we tell ourselves, and it's the decision that we make in the moments of, do we have an excuse or or do we live in vision? That's what separates us. And I'm really happy that I can process that and then find joy.
So I'm going to share you my view of that, because I grew up, my dad died when I was 2, and I had a bunch of adversity when I was a child as well, home to home, etc. So you and I share that, but not at all to the depth of your trauma. But, I always, as I got older, derived pleasure from the fact that I can get strength from those horrific times, not weakness. And you've done the same. You derive strength from those horrific moments in your life that are unfathomable to other people, that would take so many of us down, Jon. And I feel that same pride at moments. When I can derive strength from that, then I've truly won. And those are the biggest moments for you too. Boy, I get it. I'm feeling with you, buddy. So
well said, man.
Yeah, it's just
true.
the truth. And I think, we feel the same way about this, coming up at that adversity. And one a Rocky line, I love it. It's how you stand up after you get hit that matters in life. Another great line, but obviously that's true. Okay, you ready for your next big question?
Hit me.
I've been looking forward to asking you this. Who would you like to have dinner tonight?
Oh,
but they must be dead, and they can't be an athlete. Who comes to mind?
I would say my mom, for sure.
Okay.
Now, if I were to go outside of that realm, who would I like to have dinner with and why? And it can't be an athlete.
That's right.
Man. I think it would be cool, and this is probably not on kind of where you're at, but like on the entertainment side, to sit down with like a Charlie Chaplin or to sit down with like, how about this? Hey, how'd you invent electricity, Franklin? Hey, Thomas Edison, where'd the phone come from? Because let me tell you, pretty good invention,
It's funny that you say that, because my idols tend to be those kind of people, Thomas Edison and the Howard Hughes types in the world.
Yeah.
So
I don't care who you are or what you do. If you're the best in the world at it, I would love to sit down and talk to you, because I think that's fascinating.
So what's fascinating about what we just said? It's a great way to end this interview. When I ask that question, some people pick somebody who would admire them. Some people pick someone who they would admire. You picked the person you would admire. So you immediately went to a place where you would learn, grow, and that's who you are, man. Jon, this has been a lot of fun, buddy.
It would be slim pickings if I had to find somebody that admired me.
Oh, come on. Come on. Listen to you, buddy, when you were a kid, you wanted to run through that tube. You did it. When you were a kid, you wanted to be a magician that could draw people and make thousands of people smile. You did it. When you got sick, you had to overcome it, get past the negative thoughts, all that stuff. You did it. When you wanted to become a motivational speaker, not easy. You're sitting in a room with corporate executives now who know their shit. You better speak right, and you better know what the hell you're saying in that quote, right? They're going to listen to you for so long, and you did it. And to suggest for a moment that you're not relevant is absurd. You're incredibly relevant. You're a great story, Jon. I'm proud to have talked to you, and I hope people understand the power of what you and I have said to each other. I think turning those horrific moments into positive things in our lives is a big lesson out of the talk we had together, don't you think? I think.
And you know what? You and I have accomplished it because what we did is we showed up. We showed up every day. Yeah. Hey, man, let me tell you, in life, if you just show up, you'll be amazed at what happens.
And the other big thing I've learned from our talk together is if we assume we're going to be successful next year, we might not try so hard this year. So you and I both always think that it's going to end this year, and we got to fight for next year to happen. Boy, that applies to college, marriages, every aspect of life. Focus on now. And so many people are so concerned with tomorrow that they don't mentally show up today. You showed up every day, and that's why you won.
That's the key, man. That's the key right there.
This was a pleasure, buddy. I'd love to get together and have a sandwich one day.
I'd love it, man. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, Jon. We'll talk another time. Bye-bye. If you love my No Excuses podcast, hit subscribe at Apple Podcasts, go to podcastone.com or the Podcast One app, and you'll get your new episodes every Tuesday morning.